Hello there, my name is Tim, and on this episode of The Propping Block, I'm going to show you how I made this. The Witcher medallion from the video game series, The Witcher. I went with the game one because it's way cooler than the one from the show. Sorry. You know, it was pretty easy, straightforward build, except for a couple little hiccups along the way, but I'll show you that in a little bit. So, let's get started. Alright, for this one I used sandpaper, a file, chrome spray paint, wood filler, Dremel, hot glue gun, soldering iron, battery holder, switch, LED, super glue, masking tape, black acrylic paint, tweezers, X-Acto, a chain, and my 3D printer. First up, I went to Thingiverse to search for Witcher medallion, and there's a decent amount of them on here, but I went with the first one here, this 2007 version. I really like the design of that, so I saved that here, dropped it into Cura, and I had to scale it up by about 200% because the original model was pretty tiny, and I just did zero infill on it, so it's completely hollow, so when I put the LED inside, it would light up the eyes with nothing blocking it. So I did that, printed it, took about 7 hours to print, but unfortunately I forgot to set up my time-lapse camera on that one, so there's no footage of that. Sorry. Alright, here it is right off the printer. So just gotta pop this raft off. Take the little supports off that are in the mouth back here. Now, because I printed this with zero infill, it means it's completely hollow. Whoops. But since it was completely hollow and it printed like this, it had a hard time printing the back of his mouth and the throat there. It's just kind of an empty space, so I'm gonna have to do something about that here in a little bit. But for now, I'm going to Dremel out a space here to fit my electronics, and I don't need much room because it is just this. Alright, and this is the part inside the print, the back of his throat here that failed to print. So I'm just gonna pull that out, and then you can see right through his mouth there and into his tongue. That should be an easy fix though. I could just, let's just slap some wood filler on it. Actually, you know, I realized this little piece that I pulled out of the inside, it's got a nice, really smooth surface, and I could just cut off the sides here, and I could butt that right up against the hole, glue it in, and it'll work fine. Perfect. And now I'm just gonna tidy up the print a little bit here. I'm not gonna sand it yet before I hit it with primer. Alright, now this is a very important and kind of tricky part. Before I put any paint on this, I need to mask off the tiny little eyes because I want them to still be a little translucent so the light shines through, but they are so goddamn tiny. This is gonna be tricky. Alright, not bad. Now, first layer of primer. Primer's dry. I'm going to sand it a little bit. I printed it in such a high resolution that you don't see the layer lines until you get some harsh light. You know, some light sanding will get rid of that. And then on the back here where it printed on the raft, it's really rough and I don't want to sand it, so I'm just gonna smear a little bit of wood filler on there and call that a day. Now I got some new wood filler recently because my old one got dried out as shit. And this one is pink. Goes on pink, dries natural. So it lets you know when it dries. That's pretty handy. Oh my god, look at that beautiful color. Oh man, it's a little stanky. Oh yeah, look at that. Very nice. Alright, that's good enough. Man, that's really cool. Some of it's starting to dry already. And you can see, like here on my finger, let's just turn into that natural woody color. That's, yeah, that's pretty damn handy. Yeah, so once that fully loses its pinkness, I'll come back to it, give it a little light sanding, and then I think it's ready to get the first layer of chrome on it because it's looking pretty smooth already. Alright, it's just the back, so I'm not going to keep it super pretty, but any little runoff around the side here, I'm just going to clean that up. Man, I love a nice, quick, easy one, and this is it is so nice, quick, and easy. Sanding's done. That's purdied up a little bit. Now I'm just gonna, to cover that wood filler, just hit it with just a regular primer, not a filler primer, just to cover up that wood filler on the back and the rest of it, because I can see some little bit of light shining through, and I don't want to do that when I actually get the lights in here.
You shouldn't go around killing people.
Why?
Oh, look at that. Yo, look how smooth that is. That's smooth as hell. And that's only one coat of filler primer, lightly sanded, and then one coat of this red primer. And that's because I printed it in such a small layer height, and it took forever to print, but that's just less sanding, even though I love sanding so much. So now, one coat of chrome spray paint over this, and then we go from there. I absolutely forgot to hit record here. Sorry about that, but look how shiny that is. Wow. So shiny, so reflective, so beautiful. Now I have to seal that in with some glossy clear so I can start weathering it without smudging it and getting my fingerprints all in it.
Why? Why?
Because you just can't, okay? Trust me on this.
Moving right along. Gonna put a little black weathering on here, just black paint thinned out with water. Spread it all over there, get it all nice and in all those little deep crevices and all that, and make it look like old metal.
Negative. I am a meat popsicle. This could have been avoided. I could do this all day.
Okay, now I'm gonna let that dry and then peel off the tiny little masking tape on the eyes. Now, because I forgot to do it earlier, I printed out this little piece right here that I'm just going to glue to the back so you can loop a chain through there. So I'm just going to glue that real quick. So I got to sand back some of this clear coat and paint here just so that this little piece is actually sticking to the plastic instead of the paint. It'll make it a little bit stronger. That should do nicely. Accelerator. Alright, that's on. Now I'm going to hit it with the last round of clear coat. While the clear coat's drying, I'm just gonna solder together the electronics real quick, and it's really simple. It's just this switch, this tiny little battery, and this tiny little red LED. So positive side for the battery comes off this, negative side here. So if I touch the positive side, and this is like perfect size little battery holder, I'm gonna line it up like that, and that positive right here touches that little pole right there. Hold that there, and then the positive side of the LED, touch that to another side of the switch, and then the negative to the negative pole here, and we have light. So I just need to get a tiny little bit of solder down into there, and I'm not even going to use wires. I'm just going to solder this up just like this and secure it with some hot glue. Now solder on here. A little bit more solder here. Okay, now a little hot glue. a little. Alright, it's all pretty secure now. Tiniest little thing. And it fits in here so flush that it can pretty much hold on its own. So taking the battery out, if it ever needs to be replaced, really shouldn't be that big of an issue. I'm not even going to secure it in here because it can hold on its own pretty well. Alright, so I did actually end up hot gluing the electronics in here. It's a lot sturdier now. There's a little bit less light bleed. And then earlier on, I didn't show this, but I added this little tab down here because I thought I could have a nice little piece of plastic like slide in here and cover it, but it didn't really work out that way at all. So I'm just, I'm just gonna leave it kind of exposed like this, and this along with the switch kind of act as a bumper, so when you're wearing it on the chain, you're not actually coming into contact with the battery. And yeah, that's about it. I also put another layer of clear coat on it, and I'm gonna call that done. And there we have it. Now it just needs a nice little chain. Perfect. Look at that. So that was a nice easy one. I kind of wish I'd planned the back out here better because it's just open and exposed, but I'd have to go into the model and do work before I print it to actually have something that covers it nicely. So yeah, I'll just do that on the next one. But for now, that's still pretty cool. Thanks for watching. What are you doing up there? Huh? Who's a good kitty?